Strap in for the unsettling celebrity scandals you might have never heard before, from one revered guitar legend's shocking on-stage rant that sparked a movement, to an A-list star who paid just £100 after a fatal accident. This documentary lifts the veil on the dark side of Hollywood's brightest faces, leaving you questioning, can fame truly overshadow accountability? Stay with us till the end for every reveal and resolution. Pete Townend. Pete Townend, legendary guitarist for The Who, is known for riffs that defined a generation. Think Pinball Wizard and Won't Get Fooled Again. But in the early 2000s, he made headlines for a reason no fan of rock music would ever expect. Authorities were investigating websites hosting deeply concerning material involving minors. Townend's credit card details surfaced as having been used to access one such website. The musician was not charged with possession, but he was officially cautioned by police. Townend publicly insisted that he had not accessed the material for personal reasons, but rather was conducting research to expose what he believed to be the failings of British banks in preventing illegal transactions. Critics questioned this explanation, while some fans stood by him, underscoring the possibility that he was indeed trying to highlight institutional shortcomings. No incriminating images were found on Townend's personal devices, which factored into the relatively light outcome. Yet even so, many found it difficult to reconcile the beloved rock icon with such a troubling incident. Typically in discussions about how the music industry and the public react when a revered artist faces serious accusations. Townend, for his part, has maintained that his intentions were purely investigative, and he continues to be an active musician and writer. The incident remains a stark reminder that even iconic figures, people who shaped entire genres, are not immune to controversies that can jeopardize their standing and raise serious moral questions about trust, privacy, and accountability. Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder was once the darling of 1990s cinema, turning in memorable performances in films like Heathers, Edward Scissorhands, and Girl Interrupted. Then came 2001, a year that would drastically change her public image. Ryder was arrested in Beverly Hills after being caught shoplifting thousands of dollars worth of designer merchandise. Surveillance footage showed her removing security tags and attempting to leave the store with the unpaid goods. The actress was ultimately charged with theft and vandalism, and her trial became the talk of tabloids and entertainment programs alike. Ryder's defense team argued that she was under the influence of medication at the time. The incident was particularly shocking given Ryder's previous reputation as an introspective. Following this legal drama, she stepped away from the limelight. It took years for Ryder to re-establish her footing in the industry, though her talent was undeniable. Gradually, she appeared in smaller roles, culminating in her career resurgence with the hit Netflix series Stranger Things. Many fans welcomed her back with open arms, viewing the shoplifting incident as a mistake that, while serious, was not unforgivable. Winona Ryder's journey underlines how a public figure's standing can be toppled by a single unexpected event, especially when it contradicts the public persona that fans cherish. Still, she remains a prime example of how Hollywood loves a comeback story. Though the scandal lingers in popular memory, it no longer solely defines her, illustrating that time, remorse, and consistent work can help restore a tarnished reputation. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was an NBA Titan, a 5-time champion, and an 18-time All-Star whose impact on basketball is undeniable. He became a global sports icon, known for relentless determination and for bridging international audiences to the NBA. But back in 2003, the rising superstar faced a legal case that challenged his meticulously built reputation. While staying at a hotel in Eagle, Colorado, Bryant was accused of assault by a 19-year-old employee. A media frenzy erupted. It was one of the first times in the modern era that a beloved athlete faced such high-profile allegations. Bryant, who was married, denied the claims, stating that the encounter was a mutual affair. The case was dropped in 2004 after the accuser declined to testify. This was enough to cool the media flames over time. Bryant worked diligently to rehabilitate his image on and off the court. He resumed winning championships and expanded his philanthropy, eventually earning an Academy Award for a short film in 2018. By the time of his tragic passing in a 2020 helicopter accident, a significant portion of the public conversation had shifted to celebrating his career achievements, yet debates about that 2003 case persist. Following Bryant's untimely death, Others felt the timing was inappropriate to relitigate the past. This conflict in public sentiment symbolizes the complexity of discussing beloved public figures who also face serious allegations. Whether or not one chooses to focus on that moment in Bryant's life, it remains an undeniable part of his legacy. Rick James was more than just a funk musician. He was a symbol of an era defined by extravagant behavior, groundbreaking grooves, and a larger-than-life persona. Best known for tracks like Super Freak, James embodied both the thrilling and destructive sides of the music industry. Unfortunately, that destruction extended beyond his personal health struggles into dangerous actions. His long-standing substance use issues were well documented, but the tipping point came in the early 1990s with a particularly disturbing criminal case. James and a companion faced accusations of holding a young woman against her will for days. The woman alleged that James inflicted extreme harm upon her. James served time in prison, partially due to that incident. He did attempt a comeback after his release. However, the scandal forever shaped his reputation in the public eye. In later interviews, James admitted to having serious problems with substance use, which he claimed clouded his judgment and led him to make poor decisions. James passed away in 2004 at the age of 56. The coroner's report listed multiple substances in his system at the time of death, highlighting that his struggle with substance use lingered to the end. Today, his musical accomplishments are often overshadowed by the memory of the crimes he committed. He remains an example of an artist whose professional talent was real, but whose reckless and harmful behavior, Gishanti John Hamm. Our first entry concerns an actor best known for playing Don Draper on the acclaimed television show Mad Men. If you're familiar with Don Draper's fictional demons, you might be surprised to discover that John Hamm's real-life past includes its own disturbing chapter. Long before Hamm wore those sharp 1960s suits, he was a member of a college fraternity at the University of Texas in the early 1990s. In 1990, an alleged hazing incident within his fraternity went horribly wrong. According to details that emerged later in a lawsuit, a pledge reportedly suffered serious injuries, some as extreme as burns, leading him to withdraw from the school entirely. The rumors and legal documents painted a distressing picture. The pledge endured physical violence, having his pants set on fire. Hamm faced criminal charges and ultimately pleaded guilty, resulting in probation. The details were often overshadowed by his rising fame in Hollywood. In the ensuing years, Hamm built a reputation as a serious performer, even winning an Emmy for his portrayal of Don Draper. Still, this early chapter of his life never completely disappeared from the narrative. Some fans were shocked to learn of the alleged hazing, while others cited it as evidence that stardom can cloak. Hamm has spoken in interviews about working on himself, attending therapy, acknowledging personal growth. Hamm appears to have successfully navigated the controversy. His career remains strong, but the details of that disturbing night remain a cautionary reminder. Even beloved stars can carry secrets from their past. Eric Clapton. Music legend Eric Clapton is revered by guitar aficionados worldwide for iconic tracks like Layla and Wonderful Tonight. Yet behind the masterful riffs lies a moment in the 1970s that Clapton himself has struggled to fully explain. In 1976, while performing in Birmingham, England, Clapton unleashed a drunken rant before the crowd. Clapton repeatedly used racially charged language, calling for keeping Britain white. The outcry was immediate and vocal, pushing many to call Clapton out for hypocrisy. After all, his beloved music took heavy inspiration from African-American blues. This contradiction turned Clapton's remarks into a lightning rod for criticism. The backlash eventually led to the Foundation of Rock Against Racism, a movement aimed at challenging the exact type of statements Clapton made on stage that night. In subsequent interviews, Clapton tried to distance himself from his words, at times blaming alcohol and substance abuse for the tirade. He also pointed to personal issues and emotional struggle. Eventually, Clapton emerged from this scandal, with his career largely intact, thanks in part to his immense musical talents and a fan base willing to separate the artist from the person. But the memory of that outburst lingers, serving as a reminder that fame and skill can't always shield you from the consequences of hateful or inflammatory rhetoric. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe was once the quintessential 1980s heartthrob, starring in hits like The Outsiders, St. Elmo's Fire, and About Last Night. But in 1988, at the height of his stardom, a scandal surfaced that dramatically rocked his public image. An intimate video involving Lowe emerged, recorded during the Democratic National Convention. Initially, it seemed to many like just another celebrity tape scandal, albeit shocking for the era. However, as the story developed, reports suggested that one participant in the tape was underage. In an era where public figures didn't instantly take to social media to offer explanations, he retreated from the public eye and faced significant backlash. Instead of seeing him as the handsome star from the Brat Pack, and it became the subject of relentless late-night comedy jabs and tabloid headlines. Despite the controversy, Lowe managed to rehabilitate his image over time. He took a break, entered programs aimed at self-improvement, and eventually staged a comeback. One of the turning points in his resurgence was his role as a slick villain in the 1992 hit comedy Wayne's World, which introduced him to a new audience. Later performances, especially in beloved TV shows like The West Wing and Parks and Recreation, would cement Lowe as a charismatic presence on screen once more. Rob Lowe's story demonstrates that celebrity careers can survive massive setbacks. In interviews, Lowe has alluded to that period as a turning point, pushing him to reassess his choices and prioritize responsibility in both his personal and professional life. Dr. Dre, real name Andre Young, is heralded as one of the most influential figures in hip-hop history. From his work with NWA to launching the careers of Eminem, 50 Cent, and Kendrick Lamar, Dre has a golden reputation in the music industry. But in 1991, he found himself at the center of a serious controversy. That year, television host Dee Barnes accused Dre of physically assaulting her at an LA nightclub. According to Barnes, the attack was unprovoked and left her traumatized. She subsequently filed a lawsuit for damages, which was eventually settled out of court. The incident ignited conversations about violence in hip-hop culture and whether big-name stars might escape accountability because of their fame. Although Dr. Dre initially expressed regret in interviews, many critics felt his apologies were too little. For years, the mention of the incident faded somewhat into the background of Dr. Dre's larger-than-life success as a producer and entrepreneur. Nonetheless, it re-emerged in public discourse over time, especially when the 2015 film Straight Outta Compton omitted any depiction of the assault. Dr. Dre eventually revisited the topic more directly. While this was not the only troubling accusation levied against him regarding violence toward women, it remains the most widely documented. Despite this dark chapter, Dr. Dre continues to be revered musically, though fans and critics have called on him to take a stronger stance against violence and to be transparent about past conduct. R. Kelly. R. Kelly's discography includes hit tracks like I Believe I Can Fly, which became a global sensation in the 1990s. He was long regarded as one of R&B's most talented singer-songwriters, producing songs for numerous artists and crafting chart-topping albums of his own. But for nearly as long as he's been successful, rumors and allegations about misconduct trailed his career. For years, Kelly faced lawsuits and unsettling accusations. While these stories occasionally sparked media interest, his collaborators often remained silent or distanced themselves quietly. It wasn't until a widely watched documentary series aired that public attention crystallized around his alleged actions. Mounting testimonies and evidence led to Kelly's eventual arrest on serious charges, including trafficking. The convictions that followed, in which he was found guilty of racketeering and related offenses, marked a significant turning point. This was not just another celebrity scandal brushed under the rug. It became a definitive legal and moral reckoning for an artist who had avoided severe consequences for decades. In the aftermath, radio stations pulled his songs, streaming platforms faced calls to remove his catalog, and the public discourse shifted to center the survivors of his alleged misconduct. Although Kelly appealed the verdict, the damage to his reputation is immense and, for many, irreversible. His story demonstrates that the combination of fame and a network of enablers can sometimes conceal serious wrongdoing for years, and how the legal system can eventually catch up, even with powerful figures. R. Kelly's tale is both a tragedy and a cautionary piece about the darker shadows that can hide behind a beloved musical legacy. Sean Penn. Sean Penn is celebrated for intense acting performances in films like Mystic River and Milk, both of which garnered him prestigious awards. Yet his off-screen persona in the 1980s was often marked by volatility, including run-ins with the paparazzi and serious allegations within his personal relationships. During his high-profile marriage to pop icon Madonna, Penn was rumored to have engaged in troubling behavior. Although some accounts of the alleged incidents have been disputed, the rumors cast a long shadow. He also displayed a combative approach toward paparazzi, culminating in physical altercations. In 1987, Penn even served a brief jail sentence after one such incident. While Penn's talent as an actor is unquestionable, these controversies inevitably followed him. He became deeply involved in humanitarian efforts, particularly after major disasters like the 2010 Haiti earthquake. He also mellowed somewhat with age, focusing on writing and directing projects and forging a reputation as a philanthropist. Some observers highlight his philanthropic work and activism, arguing he's evolved from his impulsive younger self. Others note that the stories from his earlier years, especially involving alleged domestic issues, deserve more scrutiny. One way or another, Penn illustrates how a celebrity can remain beloved for their professional achievements even when serious allegations cloud their reputation. With an Oscar to his name and a record of charitable contributions, he remains a complex figure, an acclaimed artist with a checkered past. In the public consciousness, Penn's legacy is mixed, and it continues to spark conversation about where we draw the line between celebrating an artist's work and confronting allegations about their personal life. Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber soared to fame at an age when most teenagers are still figuring out who they want to be. His YouTube discovery led to global superstardom, turning him into a pop icon who commanded legions of fans, affectionately dubbed Beliebers. But with this rapid rise came the pitfalls of celebrity. In the early 2010s, Bieber's personal life became something of a public spectacle. He faced multiple controversies, including an incident where he vandalized a neighbor's property by throwing eggs, run-ins with paparazzi, and accusations of reckless driving in residential neighborhoods. The turning point was perhaps his 2014 arrest in Miami for alleged drag racing while under the influence, an event that made headlines worldwide. Bieber's public image took a nosedive, with many critics labeling him as a cautionary tale of a child star gone astray. Over time, he appeared in numerous interviews acknowledging the negative influences and poor decisions that accompanied his early fame. As Bieber matured, he embraced a new perspective, focusing on mental health awareness and personal growth. His later albums, such as Purpose and Changes, reflect a more introspective view, tackling themes of redemption and self-improvement. While some fans never lost faith, Justin Bieber's story offers a snapshot of how intense fame can warp a teenager's reality and the consequences of not having a stable support system early on. Intense media scrutiny, Bieber's more recent endeavors, both musical and philanthropic, demonstrate an effort to move past his troubled chapter, reminding us that transformation is possible when accountability and genuine personal growth take center stage. Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant became synonymous with the charming British leading man of the 1990s, thanks to roles in Four Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, and Sense and Sensibility. Yet for all his on-screen politeness, he found himself in an embarrassing scandal in 1995 that caused a massive media storm. Grant was arrested in Los Angeles for what authorities described as lewd conduct with an individual he had picked up in his car. The timing couldn't have been worse. He was about to embark on a promotional tour for a major film release. Instead of fielding typical press junket questions about his craft, Grant spent weeks apologizing publicly and confronting a wave of jokes from late-night talk shows. The incident highlighted the intense scrutiny celebrities face. Grant's immediate public response, however, was notable. He did not deflect or deny. Rather, he appeared on television, owned his mistake, and apologized profusely. In the months that followed, Grant took a bit of a hiatus, carefully selecting his next roles. His popularity eventually rebounded, buoyed by his inherent screen appeal and a willingness to address the incident with self-deprecating humor. Today, Grant has a robust filmography that spans comedy and even villainous roles. Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor is the voice behind the haunting ballad Nothing Compares to You, a track that topped charts worldwide in 1990. Beyond her musical genius, however, O'Connor is remembered for a moment on live television that shocked an entire generation. In 1992, while performing on Saturday Night Live, O'Connor ended her appearance by tearing up a photograph of Pope John Paul II on camera. She then made a strong statement condemning certain actions within the Catholic Church. The audience, and indeed the nation, was stunned. NBC's phone lines lit up as viewers weighed in, some outraged, others supportive of her bold stance. The backlash was immediate. Her music was boycotted, radio stations refused to play her songs, O'Connor, for her part, explained her actions as a personal protest against the church's handling of various issues, particularly ones involving harmful practices that she believed were being covered up or ignored. While she took a hit commercially, O'Connor never backed down from her convictions. Over the years, she continued to release music and speak openly on topics like mental health, religion, and social injustice. Although her career never recaptured the same mainstream acclaim, many viewed her as a powerful voice, unafraid to confront institutions and public sentiment. Sinead O'Connor's 1992 protest underscored how a single act can cement a celebrity's legacy. Some see her as a protest hero, others as disrespectful. Either way, there's no doubt that O'Connor's boldness forever changed her position in pop culture, sparking discussions about free expression, censorship, and the role of artists in raising uncomfortable truths.